But we're being joined by a special guest now. Well, you want to introduce him, Carl? You've known him a long time.
I've been seeing him on TV, and he's been looking clean. Rodney King, welcome to KJLH Radio Free.
Hey.
Good to have you, man.
Thanks.
It's been a while.
I'm glad to be here.
Well, you home. This is home for you.
Thanks.
Because this was like the epicenter of when he was going down, as you already know.
Yeah, very familiar with this area.
But you got a book out.
Yeah, I've got Rise Within, 2 decades in the makings. And Harper, it's 2 decades in the makings, and by HarperCollins, they picked me up, and I'm getting my word out there. It's my testimony.
And of course, the book signing is tonight at SO1 Books in Leimert Park. It's at 7 o'clock this evening, and we want you to come out. You're going to do a Q&A, question and answer. It's at SO1 Bookstore, which has moved down the street from where it formerly was, but it's right there on Degnan in Leimert Park.
All right, and I'll be down there today as well.
Great.
I'll be down at SO1 and see my friends at SO1. So we're going to hang out a little bit.
Good. I'm so glad. Yeah, I'm so happy to made it this far with this.
How long did it take you to do the book?
It was two and a half years, with writing and everything, and then, like I say, 20 years of me holding on to the material I had and my memories and things that I could remember. So it's been a good project.
I got to ask you this, though, because, every time I'm driving around and I see LAPD lights in the back of my car, I get, anxiety starts building because I just feel it just starting to mess with me. And they haven't did what they did to me. How do you feel when you see the LAPD or even any law enforcement vehicle behind you?
Well, I feel like my bully's back there.
Yeah.
I feel like a bully's back there, and that's just how it is. Over the years, from the day I realized what a police is, and through my father and everything, I've stay still, don't none of y'all turn around. So it's been like that with me being a black man ever since I can remember.
So your dad
driving.
had that talk with you?
Oh yeah, I had the gentleman's talk.
Oh, okay.
Oh
all
yeah.
Right. And if you're out there listening, if you haven't had it, you better get it.
That's how I survived all these years. Make yourself likable.
Right.
Or get yourself killed.
Yeah, and man, that was a brutal whooping. And
I gotta say, I get tired of them playing it over and over.
Yeah.
And I heard Don Lemon from CNN saying that he wanted you to watch it with him, and like he was doing something, really doing something. Don't you get tired of that?
It's what the part that I get tired of is the brutal bullying over the years. All the hatred, the part that led up to that. The misunderstanding. Trying to say it's a misunderstanding, but in the minds, it's just a lot of hate and anger. So the hate and anger is caught on tape. At that point in that time in my life, and for the police, it was a good thing, because it's one of those incidents that'll stay in the minds of people who's been beaten like that in the past, but way before I was born, and now in the future also. Although things are calming back down and they're more settled, but it exposed brutality and bullying within the police force, and it's one of the reasons why things happen like they happen today, because people see what's going on in one area, and everything has a reaction, So it was a learning experience. It's a tape for a lot of people to learn a lesson.
Yeah, it's good you look at it that way. You in your book, you really make yourself vulnerable. I mean, you really kind of dig deep and talk about, your family background and some of the abuse that you suffered as a child. Mm-hmm. And that's got to be tough.
I think everything I went through in life as a child prepared me for adulthood to this day. I wouldn't have been playing with matches when I was young and throwing them in the trash, and got that whooping with an extension cord. Go get in the tub and don't dry off. When I had it coming, my dad put it on me, and he put it on us rough. He was a firm hand, and my mom was strict also. And it was tough back then. Back then now it's called what is it? Child abuse. Child abuse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They'll take their child right out of the house.
Yeah. So I'm glad
you describe.
Yeah. So
although
I
know it was normal back then, but still to share that.
Yeah.
And the alcohol.
Yeah.
Abuse.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, all that it plays a part in our in the history of hard work and hard labor over the years. How my dad was raised. You know, how he had to work with his mom and no nonsense. But when you get off, it was time to. Back then, it was time to party and parlay. And you know, years have moved on, and the custom of living is different now. But the mentality of bullying around, different nationality, as from slavery. I got to go back to slavery days to now, to the release of slaves and the brutality that has went on over the years, just to build the country. And my dad's dad probably went through some type of worse beating than he went through, and my dad has ran from the police many times, you know, probably from fear of some things that he saw in the days. And so I think everything has a reaction, you know, over the years, and that's why I'm glad they're getting on kids about bullying other kids now in schools and stuff like that, because it all has everything boils down to brutality and abuse, you know.
And poverty. And I think you do a really good job in your book of laying out the role that being poor plays in all this.
Don't forget, I was running because I was trying to get to my job that Monday. My job had called me back, had a good construction job. So whatever it took to get on that construction job that Monday, I was willing to do, because the economy was bad. We were going through a war at that time, and I was working some little part-time job where I was really happy to have that. But when I got pulled over that night, the only thing was in my mind was, if I can get away, I can go to work Monday.
Knowing what you know now and what happened, would you have reacted the same way when the cops stopped you, or the police, or with the highway patrol, or whoever?
Oh, I would have acted the same way.
You would have done the same thing. Exactly,
because I didn't do anything. Is what I'm explaining in the book, and that's one reason why I'm glad I wrote the book. I wasn't able to testify in the first trial, but you know, here's my testimony. I wouldn't have been drinking and driving. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't have tried to get away from him. Mm-hmm. I would have went on and pulled over. But once I stopped that car, I wouldn't change anything. Once I stopped the car and got out, I would have told Melanie Singer, just like I told her then, hey, tell them that they don't have to do this. Right. And I would have stayed still on the ground, and I would have been humble. And the only reason why I'm here today is because I was humble.
Now, there was rumors that you dropped your pants and mooned them. That's not true?
Did the moonwalk? No, it didn't happen.
That didn't happen.
And that was just a part of their legacy in making up a story, right, in case a person dead or he got killed. And also with the PCP thing, them saying that I was on PCP that night. That was another move that they make to have the excuse to kill, especially black Americans, Negro Americans, African Americans, you name it. That's the excuse that they use to take your lights out. He was on PCP, and it almost worked. It almost worked, you know. And still in the minds to the day, some people say, "Well, he was on."
I still hear that. What about the other two fellas in the car?
So my heart goes out to the ones who gotten killed over that PCP lie, and my heart goes out to the ones who's still alive, but knocked halfway out of their misery. Through brutality.
The other two folks are in?
They're okay. The other two, one is dead.
One's dead, right?
Yeah, one's dead, and the other one's fine. He's alive.
We don't hear a lot about them. Dick Gregory was talking about that.
Right, and Mark from Anaheim mentioned, was Freddie Nichols?
Yeah, Freddie G. Holmes.
Freddie? Yeah.
Freddie G. Holmes and Brian Allen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do you suppose we don't hear more about them? Is it because they weren't on tape? Or is it because...
you have a little glimpse of them when they enhanced the videotape, just like they enhanced the sound where you could hear them using the N-word and all the cursing going on. So when they enhanced the audio, where you could see, I could see them that night. I could hear something going on over there, like get down, and then when you look at the tape, you could see the officers kicking them in the back, making them lie down. Freddie G had already had leg problems, so he was really screaming over there. And but you could see it in the video, barely up under the car, them stomping on the other two.
So where did you get the short end of the stick, if you will?
I got the long end. I got the Flintstone end.
Yeah, really?
Jeez.
Why you know?
I probably was the one chosen by whoever knows what power, what anybody else would have been dead that night. It's no doubt in my mind. I was just seconds away, one blow away from death that night. You know, when I was out there, I could see, like I say, the last 4 blows or so, is when I went so numb. I'm just seeing the blows come in, but nothing I could do but just kind of throw my arm up. And I didn't feel like the last 4 because I was so hot and out of breath and then dazed, about to go out. It was almost over. So I don't know why I survived. It's by the grace of my mom, God, Jehovah God. I don't know. I have no idea. But I know it's a lot of people out there that didn't survive and that won't survive that type of beating.
Some people who think that there was a conspiracy or a setup to the jump off of the LA civil unrest or rebellion or riot. I don't know what you call it, but they say that you were supposed to have been in jail at that time, that you had been sentenced to jail. Is that true?
I would have been out by the time that incident happened anyway, because that was like a year. I'd been out for almost a year at that point in time anyway. And in fact, when I got out of jail, I had ran into a couple of jobs by then. They weren't little small jobs, but I kept myself busy. With not having an education and things like that, you got to stay busy. And that's one of the things I made myself do when I had gotten out of prison, because it's a rough road with getting out of prison. You don't have no family or no backbone or no support. So I tried to stay busy. And so that's definitely not true. My parole officer, Tim Fowler, he was a really nice guy. He said, "Don't worry about nothing, buddy. You're not getting violated over this." So.
Well, that's one of the things that I was talking about in the book. You talk about how you ended up, your dad was working as a janitor.
Yeah.
You ended up doing that work, staying up all night, cleaning a building, and then going in and falling asleep in the classroom. So when you talk about, not having an education and not having those opportunities, it's not due to laziness. That's what I mean by, I feel like you make a really good case for the role that poverty plays, where a lot of us end up in these situations with our back against the wall.
Yeah, it was quite an experience growing up, with my family. My dad, I went to school from 8 in the morning, 8:30 had to be there and got out of school. So from 5 to 2 in the morning, had to be at work with my dad. And on some days we even did the house cleaning, because we did the buildings at night, and then he'd do the house cleaning in the daytime. But yeah, from 5 to 2 in the morning, we'd be at Thatcher Medical Center on Green Street in Pasadena, doing that one building, and a couple of banks in Pasadena, and locking you out of Glendale, all through there doing house cleaning. And it was quite an experience, and then go to school. You throw that grease on your hair, grease turn white. Gotta get to school. By the time lunchtime, the grease it clear up. You be all right, but you be white in the morning, hair all white from the cold. Yeah. Them days, and the teacher would get over my head. She's kind of looking. I'm kind of subconscious about it anyway, and I'm falling asleep. She's probably saying, "What is this?" But she don't know. I done worked so hard. I really couldn't pay attention in school, and.
At what point during the rebellion that you figured that you had to say something, you had to come out and say something? Was that genuinely from you, or somebody says, "Rodney, you got to say something, man"?
No, I felt in my heart I needed to say something. I just didn't know how to get out there and cough it up and say it. I didn't want to end up catching a bullet myself. It was so much going on at that time, and I just started seeing the death toll go up, and and hearing, I could feel and hear the people's pain, and them, the brick hitting Reginald Denny. And I could just see everything, and it was just it's not the kind of household I would like in my house. And this is, I know we can't get nowhere with confusion and chaos. It don't work anymore. So I said, from the bottom of my heart, I had to come out with something, that I felt. And, like I said, we're all stuck here for a while, so I know it's rough, but least we can do is make it, easier and be a little bit more peaceful and humble and nicer, kinder to each other during bad times. And that was the best thing I could have said during a bad time like that. We should always be thinking, thoughtful to others, not just in hard times like we're going through. This is a time we should be like humble and nice to each other, so we can get to where we got to go with a smooth and a cool heart, because it's rough. It's rough being angry, and then somebody else being angry, and then you getting up and throwing more flames in the fire. It's best to be calm.
Rodney King is our guest. He's got a book. It's called The Riot Inside. He's got a book signing and question and answer tonight at SO1 Bookstore in Leimert Park. It's at 7 o'clock. SO1 Books is at 4327 Degnan Boulevard in Leimert Park, and that's right there down in the main strip of Degnan Boulevard, if you haven't been there. Rodney King has his book coming out here now, the 20 years since the incident, and looking back.
2 decades.
Looking back 2 decades. It's a lot. In the 2 decades since this happened, intermittently we've heard stories about you maybe being pulled over or different brushes with the law. And a lot of us, we cringe and we say, oh, man, we wish that, we didn't have to hear that. We wish that you,
I know the feeling.
We wish you well. Are you clean and sober now?
Yeah, we've been pulling for you, brother. I'm going to tell you that. Yeah. The whole community has been pulling for you.
I think everybody does, yeah. It's like you're our brother, our uncle, our cousin.
Through the prayers, I feel that over the years, too, and it sure feels good getting embraced, because I know that's the only way I survive over the years, through prayers and all over the world. And I really appreciate all the support and throughout the world, and especially here at home that I've received over the years. And I'm comfortable with myself these days, and where I'm at with my sobriety and in my own heart and my soul and body and blood.
You look great. You do.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you.
Looks great.
We have someone else, speaking of your heart and soul, we have someone else here in the studio.
Cynthia.
Yeah, she's also known as juror number 5, Cynthia Kelly. Good morning.
There's a story behind that one, folks.
Yeah. Cynthia is your fiance?
Yeah.
How did that happen?
People are looking around the studio like, wow.
Life has its, turns. And
Cynthia?
Hi, Cynthia.
Hi, good morning. It was just one of those things that happened. I happened to be a juror on this case, and we met after the case, and one thing led to another, and it's just one of those things like, how was I picked to help this man? I saw the beating just like everyone else on TV, and I had no idea I would have been a juror on that case. But 2 years before the case, the grand jury sent me a 20-page questionnaire just for this trial, and they wanted to pick out who's going to be on this juror, but absolutely they did not want any African Americans on this trial at all.
Which you clearly are.
Ronnie, let me ask you this.
I just slipped through.
During the trial, just me and you now, ain't nobody else here, just me and you.
Yeah.
Were you checking her out during the trial?
I was going to ask you the same thing. Did you say, man, he's kind of fine?
I mean, we're all human.
No, I
might have just looked over there and just glanced, but I was too much on trying to get them officers, and get my testimony in, and then
I only seen him one time during the whole entire trial, and I looked over, and because all the other jurors like, there he go, and I looked, and I was just so happy to see the man was alive. That was my first thought, he really is here. I didn't have any idea. But one thing I do want to share with the listeners out there is that by me being on the jury, I got a chance to see some of the evidence that was presented from the police officer. And I would like to tell you this, there was not one trace of PCP in his system. I saw the evidence. The evidence only proved he only had alcohol in his system. And there was not large volumes of alcohol, and there was absolutely no drugs in his system.
I think I might have bled all the alcohol out.
Wow, ouch.
Yeah, ouch.
Well, so you guys are going to be married, and it's a pretty amazing twist to an incredible tale to begin with. Does it ever seem like it's not real, or?
Well, that's why I had to reach out there and grab the tail to make sure they keep.
Oh my God!
Make sure the tail is, got that tail in there. Got me all messing away.
Figure that one out. He's gonna get all graphic in radio frequencies.
Oh, yes, I am African American, but I am blushing. I am red.
I was trying to figure out how you slipped through and got on that jury. I mean, clearly you're black.
Stillwater's Randy.
Well, actually, I was picked because I fit the quote unquote the untypical black American. I lived in a 99% predominantly white area. I worked at a JPL, Jet Propulsion Laboratory, and I was happily married, and I did not fit the profile of what they would choose of an angry black person, because there were several other blacks that got kicked off.
You weren't one of the angry birds?
Right. At that time?
No, because at that time, if you go, you get $50 a day, and I was calculating that $50 a day. So, but I served on 3 or 4 other jurors before his trial, so I was already like a professional juror, so to speak. So this wasn't my first trial that I had been on. I had been on several other trials before.
Which is interesting, because a lot of us African Americans don't want to serve on trials.
I love it.
You know, and I'm glad that you did, because see the results. You know, we're not registered to vote. We don't want to serve on trial. We don't. When we get called for jury duty, we duck out. You know, so I'm glad that you did. And
tell them the story. They threatened her to take her to jail.
They threatened me because before his trial, they sent me a 20-page from the grand jury. I threw it in the trash. Okay. I was just tired. They sent it again. They said, if you do not complete this, we will fine you $1,000 or give you up to 3 days jail times. I mailed it the same day.
I hear you.
Yeah, there's nothing like a threat. But you're right, Carl. More of us need to serve on juries, because we would see more verdicts that we agree with.
And to do that, you got to register to vote. You know, so that brings us all the way full circle. We need to get involved.
Yeah. Things are changing, but they're just changing slow, you know.
So you think things have changed since the 20 years? Because that's the question people have been asking these past few days. Have things improved as far as you're concerned?
You know, they're way behind than where they should be, because this is a stereotype and thing that's going to go on to, you know, Jehovah God come back and do his thing. The American Negro, it's too bad. It's a price we have to pay sometimes, you know. It's a shame. So our only thing I do is pray and make sure that I treat someone throughout the day that I'm in contact with, you know, with respect and decency. You know, I ain't trying to get to know nobody, because the world is like so wild these days. But I do try and treat people with the same respect that I would want to treat, how I would want to treat my kids or myself.
Do you feel weird? Carl and I were talking about this at the beginning of the show. Carl was saying, why are we celebrating 20 years? Do you feel weird? It's almost like a commemoration, yes, but also a celebration. And then you become like a celebrity, and it's kind of a strange thing to be famous for. Mm-hmm. How do you react to that?
Well, so many has been beaten and killed in the past, you know, all the way, and it's started and it needs to stop, you know, with each and every one of us, you know. And so, but the thing is it's been going on for a long time, especially in the police district. You know, the police is the last ones to, the first ones with the racist Ku Klux Klan and stuff all up in it, and have got it so polluted, and all the killings and the violence over the years has played a part on the black man, you know, here in America over the years, and we've always been the underdog, and it's just now just coming to the light. So
you may hear something strange right there on the radio. It sounds like an edit.
But anyway, we got it.
Yeah, we got it.
I got to ask you about the LAPD. What do you now, when you see the cops and they recognize you? What do they say? Are they nice to you? Or are they apologetic?
They're very apologetic.
They are.
Very, very much so. And for the most of them, I may get 1 out of 10, and that one is a complete ass.
Right.
But for the most of it, they're very, very, very respectful to me.
Right.
Yeah, overly
respectful.
Exactly.
Doing too much.
That's the way a black man should be treated.
Right.
Doing too much.
Right. But at least they're not, except the exceptional ones that you mentioned, you know, who are still talking that racist slang.
There's not so much racism, it's just like, you know, overly doing your job. Mm-hmm. You just overly doing your job, where somebody else need that job.
So are they saying that the cops are right with what they did to you? Is that what they?
Oh no, they tell me that they know that it was wrong, and that ain't the way to get down, and that's not America. You know, that's not why they took this job. And it feels so good to hear him say that when I hear that.
But was that LAPD policy at the time?
You know,
I know the policy's changed since then.
And I'm so glad it has, because that policy has taken so many lives for me. And there's a lot of people in jail now over the policies.
Right.
Well, we talk about Sankofa. That's what I was writing about in terms of this 20 years of looking back and going back, the idea of Sankofa, going back to the past to learn so that we can put that into action here in the future. What do you see looking forward? We spend so much time looking back. What's your vision looking forward? What's your hope, your plan? Where do you want us to be in another 10, another 20 years?
I sure hope we all are still around. I'm hoping that, time is everything. But I hope that everybody can learn how to, first of all, you got to learn how to treat everybody with respect. Each and every person, needs to be treated with respect so we can move on. I just see the world should always be working on relations, going over things so that they'll never repeat themselves again. Look at the history of things and how they've been, and look at the history of things, how when you make it civilized, how smooth things sail. And times are so bad right now. It's the best time to be kind and show each other respect and courtesy. It would go a long ways, and I hope that's what I see in 20 years. Respect.
Yeah, I'll give you an amen on that. Carl Nelson, you want the last word today?
No, I'm totally in agreement with Rodney. Good to see him, though.
Thanks.
You're looking good.
It's good to see you looking good. It's nice to meet your
Good
fiance.
to see you all, too, this morning.
Thanks for coming on home radio for 102.3 KJLH, Compton, Los Angeles, Long Beach, and Inglewood. And congratulations on your book again, The Riot Inside. The signing and question and answer is tonight at SO1 Books, 4327 Degnan Boulevard in Leimert Park. That's Los Angeles, 90008. And Carl, you always used to finish up the show with a...
I forgot.
philosophical. Okay, well...
Thanks, Hopper Collins.
Yeah, that'll work.
There you go. Okay, well...
Nancy and Susan.
Anything else? Go ahead. Don't be shy.
Can we all just get along?
That's what we want.
I was supposed to open up with that. That's my thing. So
I was wondering why that wasn't the title of the book.
Can we all just get along? And I mean that.
There we go. So
That'll be on the next book.
The next book? Okay, cool.
as you go on your way about your day, let's take a moment for an affirmation. We're going to take the words of Rodney King that he just said. Let's take a deep breath in and let us release. Today, let me remember that we all just get along. Till next time, Radio Free Family, be well. One love.